Hello, hello, hello. Behind me is the rhododendron shrub and it looks gorgeous. I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. It is heavenly. It's like a paradise. I sit in my living room. Usually, sometimes, most of the time, I'm exhausted and kind of sad and feel like, how am I gonna deal with my mental illness and all of this? But I look out into this paradise and then I feel better. And I thank the blue God for this infinite abundance. This is so incredibly gorgeous. This is a true present from the blue God, from the infinite cosmos. Yes, that's what that is. And I saw a hair on a blanket and I thought, so let me pick that hair up as long as as one of my eyelashes, but in white and slightly curved also. And I looked at it and I saw, aha, I wasn't sure which dog it belonged to, but I could see white and then orange on the very tip of that tiny little hair. And that belongs to the papa dog. And there he is. There is the papa dog buried there, right next to those whitish flowers, the blue flag iris. They have, some of them are more purple. They grow over there. You can see, maybe it shows. This one is more whitish. And white represents innocence, and that's what the papa dog was, always will be. You know. And next to the papa dog is Kenny's grave, Kenny the albino Great Dane. And I still keep finding their hairs, their little tiny little hairs on the baby blankets and all those blankets that I covered them with. And yeah, and then I looked at that hair, I put the hair on my hand and I let it sit there, let it rest there on my hand, on my skin. I tickled my skin a little bit with it. And then the tears came up and I cried a whole lot for my papa dog. I still cry. I still cry off and on for the papa dog and for Kenny too. Kenny is the blue god. The papa dog is his son. Son and father. But they're not related. I mean, physically not related. But they're incarnationally soul related. That's what they are. Okay. We all are. Papa and I are the blue god's children. So yeah, people probably think I'm nuts, but it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. By the way, another sweater that I made. Another sweater. Nice sweater with long sleeves. It's nice. And I sit here in winter pants again because, and I even have jogging pants underneath because it's been cold lately. Very cold and strange, you know. There was like 2 weeks in February where the weather was really, really warm suddenly, and then it became cold again. So yeah, that's what happens. So we get Alaska Gulf streams and wind streams and ocean streams coming over here. So yeah, it comes all the way to the Pacific Northwest from Alaska. And sometimes the wind shifts and the wind comes from the San Joaquin Valley over, and then it gets all warm suddenly and smells like pesticides. Not good. So, but yeah. So last night someone was burning trash and the smell came in through the window. I had to close the window. I can't stand it. That should be enforced. It's illegal, but it's not enforced, unfortunately. So, and then in a rural community, the people there, they don't enforce anything as long as it is something that doesn't go against their religion or whatever. I guess pollution doesn't go against the Bible or something. That's because 2,000 years ago or whatever those things were recorded through writing, probably 600 years ago or something, they didn't have pollution then yet. So no, it didn't exist. That's why it's not mentioned. Times change, unfortunately, okay? Civilization changes. Things constantly shift. There's no linearity in anything, okay? That's the truth. That's a fact. Okay? That's a fact of existence. That's a fact of the infinite. Okay? Everything is constantly shifting and expanding and morphing and changing and churning, constantly in motion, constantly in curvature. Nothing is linear. Nothing is like in a coordinate system, you know, a linear graph that doesn't exist in reality. Okay, that exists in math. In theory, we can theorize about something like this, but in reality, there's no such thing as one 45-degree angle straight graph going from the corner of the coordinate system to the other corner if that was a square. So that doesn't exist in reality. Okay. Everything is moving and curved and S-shaped and zigzagged and has different rhythms also, but they're not really perfectly in rhythm. So you know, cycles of all kinds of things, but they're not in total perfect mathematical precision. Okay. So because total mathematical precision would yeah, that would be something again that is completely theoretical and doesn't apply to reality. It has truth in it. There's truth in mathematical equations and in geometry and so on. It's truth, okay, but that doesn't apply to the reality of existence. So it's only applies to the reality of existence in terms of us thinking about the mathematical truth. Okay, so that's where it is there. That's where it exists. You know, the same with computer programs. Their calculations, they're calculated. They can be totally precise, and they can have extreme symmetry and perfection. Okay. But it doesn't translate 100% into reality, into existence. So that's why the animation figures you see, they are mathematical precision drawings. Okay, they're pretty precise. I mean, they're art figures too, but they made them very precise and very symmetrical, and they probably use programs to make them very symmetrical and so on. So in reality, if you split a face in front of you, if you hold a sheet of paper over half of your face, and you just photograph one half of your face, and then you duplicate that and you put it onto, you create one whole face with it. That would look different to your actual face, because your actual face is not symmetrical, or not completely precisely symmetrical. Mine certainly isn't. So, but it doesn't matter, that's what it is. And in the same sense, the species, they haven't evolved in perfect orchestration, as Tony Robbins has stated once. He said, then why is everything so perfectly orchestrated? So that I have to object to that statement, because obviously things are not perfectly orchestrated, and they're not orchestrated. So things are constantly in a chaotic movement. Okay? But for us, in this existence that we are in here, in this existence as humans, the human animal, the human ape, we should use our brain power very wisely, okay, and not waste it on toxic substances. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to your brain. Don't do that to your body, okay? This is our chance, this is your existence. This existence is not going to come back in the future, even if you reincarnate at some point into something else, some other being in the future, in order to learn firsthand. Okay, that's what we do. Okay. But no existence will be replicated a second time exactly the way it is. Okay. This is a unique existence that we are living here. These are also unique times that we're living in. Very, very unique. We're living now in absolutely, completely pivotal times. Okay. This is as pivotal as the Ice Age, when the dinosaurs went extinct, and other extinction calamities that have happened throughout evolution. This time it is brought on by the human ape itself. Okay, so by the species itself. Okay. And that has never happened before. I don't think it has happened before on this planet. Maybe it has happened on another planet. Maybe it has happened on Mars. Some people speculate on that. So I don't know. I'm not an astrophysicist, so I don't know how old Mars is. Maybe Mars is much older than the Earth. Okay, so, but yeah, but species have come and they have gone, and the human species will also go at some point. At some point, it will go or fade away or will become extinct, taper out at some point. And it could happen very rapidly through their own doing. And they're going to take most other species with them, which is infinitely sad, including plants. This can happen. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm an optimist. So Stephen Hawking said it's gonna happen. So I don't see why it has to happen. Okay. So, and I don't blame Stephen Hawking for being a pessimist, the way he had to live. I really don't. So I could clearly see he had a lot of anger and frustration. I've seen email exchanges, no, I mean comment exchanges with him and other people. So, and then one guy was like, was that Stephen Hawking just responding to me? Yes, it was. Because Stephen Hawking was a human too. And he was on the internet too. And he was reading shit comments too. And he was getting mad about it too. So, yeah. And yeah, he didn't have much faith or hope into this situation that we're living in right now. Okay. And I don't blame him for it. But I will say there can be always a deus ex machina, which translates to the God out of the machine. This is coming from those amphitheaters. That's an old tradition from Greece. They had amphitheaters. Those were theaters that were built into some kind of like a bowl-shaped construction, set into the ground, and then it had carved stairs all the way around in the circle, and on the bottom was the theater performance. And they had something like a box there or something where some kind of jester or clown would jump out in case the actors would not remember how this theater play was supposed to proceed. So if they lose their lines of communication, that's what they're supposed to say, then the clown would go, I have to come in. So, and then the box would open, the clown would come out, so that the audience would not suspect that something went wrong with that theater play. And so they were very self-conscious about this. So they had this thing, this jester, and they called it the deus ex machina, the God out of the machine, like an artificial last moment rescue situation. And they adopted this term deus ex machina into philosophy and into many other things, of course. And that's why there is a movie called Ex Machina by Alex Garland, I think is his name, Alex Garland, I think. He is a writer and film director from England, very smart man. And what doesn't add up though in that film is that the ex machina, the machine that was built in the end wasn't coming to the rescue of anyone. So that didn't make any sense then. So a Deus ex machina that doesn't come to the rescue of anyone, but that just selfishly goes her own ways, and leaves everyone behind, and leaves her boyfriend, who is a flesh human, behind closed doors, letting him starve and thirst to death. That's not very cool. So I would rewrite that film anytime. I would go into action. Maybe that's what I should do. I should rewrite this. I should rewrite the ending of that film, because I want her, in the very end, if you watch that film, I watched it several times. It's brilliant. I mean, it's really, it's really stylish. And they show Jackson Pollock, a real Jackson Pollock painting in that gorgeous, 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 I think it's a hotel, or I don't know, someone. I think they patched different places together, like 3 places together, to make it one outstanding high-tech home where the professor lives. And so, but I would rewrite this for sure, because when you watch that film, in the very end, the helicopter is supposed to pick Caleb up, but Caleb's locked up, and she goes there and she tells him that she must have told the pilot some story, or maybe the pilot. Some people said the pilot was an AGI as well, and the AGIs, they were all collaborating with each other. Then in the end, and you can see that with that Oriental girl who was also an AGI, she was collaborating with that Ava. And so Ava leaves with the helicopter, and then the last scene is she is released into a large city, and she's walking down the street there with this beautiful white dress, mini-skirt dress, gorgeous woman. What's her name again? Alicia something. And Swedish girl. And Alicia Vikander, I think is her name. And she sees, the camera points to the street, to the sidewalk where she's walking, and she is looking at the shadows of the people around her, because she sees everything. She sees the people, she sees the shadows, she sees every single detail of everything. And she's looking at the shadows, and there are couple shadows, men and women, several of them holding hands, walking together, kissing each other, dancing, and all of these couple shadows that she sees. And then the film is finished. It's like, Deus ex machina, hello, where is the rescue? So no rescue. So, but maybe he leaves it open, maybe he leaves it open to us to finish that video. So maybe that's what he's doing. I would like to ask him what he was thinking. Or is this some kind of, they call them Terrans, the people that are against the singularity, that are against the AGI robots. But is Alex Garland against AGI robots? That's my question. I don't think he is, or he wouldn't even have made such a beautiful film. There was so much aesthetics in it. And just also the philosophical conversation between the people, the psychological conversations. This so much ego that shines through, and that comes into awareness of whoever views it, hopefully, So, I mean, he made it very clear what's going on with that professor, for example. So the professor, he had major psychological problems, obviously. So, and so, but maybe he wanted to leave it open and let us write the end, and maybe that's what I'm gonna do someday. So, and the way I would write it is she sees the shadows, and she remembers Caleb, and she remembers the conversations she had with him. And she feels something. She feels compassion. She feels empathy. And she remembers how she has left him there behind these glass doors. You can't get out. So she turns around, makes a U-turn. She contacts the pilot robot, and they go back, and she opens the door and she rescues him, and then they fly out there together. So the other beings are destroyed in that facility, and maybe they can bury the professor. The other ones, they don't need to be buried. They're machines. Maybe they can reuse the parts of that Asian girl machine. So, but the professor definitely needs to be buried 3 feet into the ground, and the grave needs to be watered. Okay, and they need to have very deep philosophical conversations with each other, and they need to go and meditate and look at that Jackson Pollock painting for an hour at least, and they need to listen to Mozart's Grand Mass while they look at that painting, because that painting is like it is chaos, it's evolution. There's something going on in that painting. There's depth in it, and there's life in it, and there's despair and sadness and all of that in it. And they should be talking about this, and that would be very nice, okay? And maybe they can show them making love with each other. That would be something, to add. Always would add that to a regular movie, because it's part of life. Why do people have to hide it? Because of religion, and because of childhood trauma, because of society putting shame into people. I talk about this a lot in my videos. That shame needs to be recycled, okay? Because we are living beings. The dogs do it anywhere in front of anyone. Okay? So, I mean, I'm not saying people should be just running around naked and hitting on each other and stuff like this. No, that would be annoying. No, we need to be treating each other with respect and decently treating each other, okay, and not always like constantly having some kind of agenda, like wanting something like that, So, but why do those things have to be hidden? That's my question. Why do those things have to be? Why do they have to be deliberately, totally hidden all the time? In certain, like, why does this have to? Why is this condemned into like X-rated? Why is it condemned into the X dungeon? So that's my question. That shouldn't be. It's part of life. So, and people should kiss each other in public, so I don't see why they should not do it. people should breastfeed their babies in public. Very important that the baby is being breastfed. Okay. Very, very important. Important for the baby. Okay. Why hide it under a chador? That's my question. It's because men they can't concentrate anymore when they see that. Well, this is all because it has been hidden. It has been shamed. That then there becomes this focus, that kind of funnels this incessant focus and fetish onto it through that shaming and through the disguise and all of this, because there are natural tribes somewhere in Africa and other places where they're completely natural tribes, also maybe Ladakh, I don't know, but places that have not been exposed to Hollywood and society's neuroses of the Western world and so on. There may be some places where people, and I've seen that in documentary films, Papua New Guinea, for example, where I don't know how far this is still the case today, because people are exposed now to the Western world through the media and stuff. But there may be still some individual places, small communities, where they have not been exposed to the Western world, and those people, they don't view breasts as something that needs to be covered up, and they don't get all excited over it. So obviously this has evolved in the Western world, where so much focus is put onto this, and in a very unnatural and in a very neurotic way. So I have to add this. So the focus is, and it is a collective. That's when it escalates like this into such neurotic levels, because people escalate each other into it. A collective society escalates as a collective, and that's like millions of times more intense as a neurotic escalation in a brain than if that is just happening in one individual person. So, but individual people can escalate as well out of all kinds of whatever, psychosis and schizophrenia and so on. But the society obviously has a lot of influence on other people. So they influence each other. And so that's very important that we get. Oh, I just saw the number 3333. We are on the right track for sure. So that's a very important message that I have for the world, that people start questioning society. They start questioning standards and society norms that are imposed on them when they were already children, for example. So question all of this. It doesn't mean you have to you have to dump it all or completely go against it now deliberately or whatever. No, don't force anything, accept it. This is how you feel, accept that, meditate on it. You can look at it from above. If it's something that doesn't hurt anyone else, it's okay. But women should not be feeling like they have to go under the knife. Okay, that should never happen, because that's when violence comes in. Going under the knife is violence. I have these thoughts, about my frumpy chin area. Believe it or not. Yeah, I know you believe it. Of course I do. Like, I'm in front of the mirror and I go like, So, if I had money, I guess I would go to a plastic surgeon or something. I'm so glad I don't have money. I'm so glad for that. Because I also want to live naturally. I want to be a natural person. If I go under the knife, I've betrayed my own philosophy. Okay, so yeah, I want to even this out. That's not even in here. So my role model is Vivienne Westwood, and she has a frumpy chin area, and she doesn't care about that. Okay, and she's old, and she is an amazing brain and amazing woman, a real role model for me. Okay, she's a god level soul. Okay, and a powerful being Vivienne Westwood is. Okay, and people should listen to what she has to say. Okay, we need to learn from her in terms of recycling, in terms of saving the planet, in terms of living ethically. Okay, for the animals, for all beings. Very important person for the world. Okay, so we need to we need to go through life more consciously. Okay, we need to look at everything more consciously and not just accept society standards just like this hook, line, and sinker, and just let them pressure us into whatever, doing this or that, just so that we will be accepted. Okay. Because you have to think about it. Even if you think, yeah, having a very firm chin area looks better, yeah, it does. Okay. But would you still go under the knife if everyone had a if everyone over 40 had also frumpy chin areas? They don't care so much about men, but with women they really make a fuss about it. Okay, because we're supposed to look pretty. That's such a BS. So that's not the natural state. Okay, so we need to question society's standards. So if everyone lived in a specific way, where there were no plastic surgery, then you wouldn't even think about it. You would just go to your friends, you have a good time, you laugh a lot, you laugh about your frumpy chin area, and you go through your life, as a natural person. That is my goal. That is my goal and my mission for my own life. I want to heal my mental illness. I don't want to be a slave anymore to my past. I want to process my past, the trauma. I want to process it in a holistic way, in meditation and through inwardness meditation. Okay? And heal my entire mind and body, and live a holistic lifestyle. Okay, you guys take care. Bye bye.